Welcome to Mindly Way, where we explore life philosophies to grow and find the right path. Get ready to listen for an inner journey. What does well-being mean? When in your life do you truly feel well? When you're happy and feeling well, you're well. Even if you're physically ill, you're still well. Isn't that right? Even if you've been medically diagnosed as ill, you're happy and feeling well right now. Isn't that so? Fundamentally, well-being is defined as a specific degree of happiness or exuberance of life. We can define happiness as this. But in terms of life, your energies are manifesting more flamboyantly than they typically do. There are many ways to describe happiness, but only those who are experiencing it can truly understand what it means. No one has ever been unhappy. Everyone has been happy at some point. But the difficulty is in maintaining that happiness. That's all that depression and happiness signify, isn't it? For the past 24 hours, everyone has been content. How many instances of joy have you experienced? Perhaps you could count on your fingers. How many? Many people have nothing to count. When you are 5 years old, as a child, how many moments of joy did you know in a 24-hour period? Surely, there are many of them. It seems like someone had to make you unhappy before someone has to make you happy now. In some way, the entire equation has been turned around. Whatever you did, everything was done in the name of pursuing happiness. In the last century, humanity has done far too much on Earth. Through the application of science and technology, we have altered the planet's very nature and brought about comforts and conveniences that no previous generation could have imagined. For example, most of you are driving chariots pulled by fewer than 200 horses, which even royalty could not have afforded. But does that make us any happier? We are undoubtedly the most comfortable generation to have ever lived on Earth, both in terms of comfort and joy. So it hasn't worked. Are we any happier now that science and technology have greatly improved our lives? 25 years ago, we could not have imagined the comforts and conveniences that we enjoy today. No. And all of these comforts and conveniences have not come easily. Rather, they have come at a great cost to every other living thing on the planet. Yes, every single thing, including humans, has paid a heavy price to create these comforts and conveniences, and we are not even happy. At this point, we are essentially setting the planet on fire. So if you're happy, burn the planet. It's okay, but we're not even happy. I believe it's time to take a closer look at why we're burning it down. You feel like a slave because someone else is deciding what should happen to you right now. But is this not slavery? Cut yourself and observe that someone else is deciding what should happen around you. Your happiness or unhappiness can be determined by someone else. This is not slavery. Is this not slavery when someone has the power to determine whether you will be a pleasant or unpleasant human being? What occurs inside of you is what someone else determines to be the worst kind of slavery. Isn't that right? Therefore, it's just that because everyone is like that, life around you will never happen exactly how you want it to. And it shouldn't happen, because if everything goes exactly as you want it, where do I go? Life around you will never happen. It's not going to happen 100% the way you want it to. And unless you live with machines, life won't happen at all. Even those machines will freak out on you, don't they? The machines will always be bothering you for something. So outside things will never go exactly as planned. As for your happiness, joy, or let's not use so many adjectives. Essentially, it's pleasantness versus unpleasantness. For pleasantness, we have many names for it. Tranquility, contentment, joy, happiness, euphoria. For unpleasantness, we go by many names. Whatever else, stress, anxiety, fear, tension, insanity, whichever is more pleasant than unpleasant. If your pleasantness is dependent upon what happens around you, the chances of you being pleasant all the time is remote, isn't it? In the very nature of things, it's not possible only if you are able to create a distance between this. And that it is possible in the sense whenever things don't work, there is a habit in lots of people. They will look up. The whole world is looking up, looking up. You're always looking up in the wrong direction. That is the one thing you're sure of, isn't it? Yes or no? Do you know what is east and west? No. Do you know what is forward and backward? You do not know any of these things. This is all you know. This is what is outward and what is inward. This is the only privilege you have. Just in case you become enlightened at some point, you will also lose that. That's what happened to me. I'm not sure which is inward and which is outward, me and not me. I'm all over the world because I'm not sure if this or that is who I am. Where do you see me in yourself right now? Where do you hear me in yourself right now? Where have you seen the entire world within yourself? Have you ever experienced anything outside of yourself? I want to know what happens inside of you. And you should decide how it should happen, because everything that has ever happened to you, darkness and light, pain and pleasure, joy and misery, has happened within of you. You have never experienced anything outside of yourself. What transpires inside of you is what should dictate how this transpires. Someone else should definitely decide what should happen in this. So, if you decide what's happening in this, your entire life experience will be decided by you and no one else, right? The events surrounding you may not be decided by you, but how you live on this planet is entirely determined by you. If you take control of this, if you leave it, almost anyone can tell, even if they don't realize it, that they like you by happenstance. How does one go about achieving happiness? One fact that is straightforward is that every human experience has a chemical foundation. What you might refer to as peace is one type of chemistry, and what you might refer to as happiness or joy is another. Ecstasy represents one type of chemistry. All degrees of pleasure and unpleasantness are rooted in a certain chemical background within you. Or, to put it another way, what you call as this is a certain chemical soup. The question is only, are you a great souper or a lousy soup? A laughter. Agony is another type of chemistry. Anxiety, stress, and chemistry. Now, 10 different people will not make the same soup if I give them the same ingredients to make soup, similar to how all of us are made with the same ingredients. But we all make our own in different ways. 10 soups will taste different even though the ingredients are the same. It's time to pay attention to soup making so that this is a great soup and not a bad soup. This is what we're teaching people. We're not telling them to be happy or peaceful. Instead, we're teaching them how to engineer their chemistry to be the way they want it. If you create a chemistry of blissfulness, then why are you worried about being happy? That's right. That's how you will be. Not a single day passes for me without witnessing tears of joy and love around me. Every day somebody will be shedding tears of love and joy. I don't think there's a better way to live in this world, and all of us should strive to create your own circles of joyfulness and pleasantness around us, because if you are not joyful by our own nature, if you are always going around with the fear of suffering, as long as fear of suffering is there within you, you will never walk your life with full stride. It will always be half a step. Most human beings have crippled themselves simply because of fear of suffering. What will happen to me is always the question. Whatever happens, this is how I will be. If this assurance comes to you, only now you will want to scale the peaks of life and see what about it. If it happens, makes no difference to you. If it doesn't happen, makes no difference to you. That's when you would like to really explore every dimension of life. So first and foremost thing is this, that your way of being is not determined by what's around you. If you bring this one aspect to you, there is no fear of suffering. Once there is no fear of suffering, you will traverse the breadth and length of this life without hesitation.